Back on board with Operation Motorsport here at the Lifeline 24-hour Classic at Virginia International Raceway. It's the ChampCar Endurance Series presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps. Right now it's Bimmerline, R-Bank Racing, Pinky's Out, Operation Motorsport in their EC car, SRI Racing in the 67 E30, Lang & Gross in 6th, Team Troxel in 7th, Bad Brains Racing in 8th, Elite Motors Racing in 9th, and RRT Racing in 10th.
Fog is getting much worse, especially near turn 1. Make this front straightaway in turn 1 area.
Yeah, we need a fogometer. There's a look from inside one of the cars. This is from Sped Source, but you can see that haze continuing to get thicker and thicker. And if it's going to need the sun to burn it off, Tiffany, it's going to be around a while.
Yeah. If you look on the camera that's we have here in the tower facing onto the front straightaway, you can really see how the light's coming and see how thick it is. See it in the corner where the light's hitting it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's getting, and that's the lighter end, so it's thicker on towards the other end of the front straightaway. I think the corner worker on turn 1 said that he was not able to see the race control station anymore, or very little. So makes it hard for the corner workers to pick out which car it is too when they're trying to do their job.
Sped Source working their way around the racetrack at night, fog rolling in.
Man, I'm telling you, the fog is thick in turn 1.
Yeah, you can really see it.
Did I ever tell you my fog story?
I'm dying to hear it.
Okay. Yeah, we got some time, right?
Yeah, we can work it in. Go ahead.
All right. So I was living out in LA and I was working in the concert industry. And we did a show one night at the Beverly Theater. And the headlining act was UB40. And there were several other reggae bands on the bill as well. Well, the dressing rooms at the Beverly Theater were underneath the stage, so there wasn't a whole lot of air moving through there, if you know what I mean. So you walk down there and get kind of buzzed. Imbibe in a little herb, and so anyway, I lived up in Pasadena, right on the Rose Bowl parade route. And after the Rose Bowl, they go park the floats in a neighborhood park. Well, it was very, 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 very foggy. We got done with load out at about 4 a.m. and I drove home. Well, the theme that year was The Land That Time Forgot, and it was basically based on the Disney movie that had been out about the dinosaurs. So every float builder built a dinosaur. So I'm driving home, I'm through the last couple of stoplights. Well, they moved the floats back to the Rose Bowl after they'd been on display in this park. So I'm sitting in a stoplight and here comes a brontosaurus out of the fog. Pretty much higher than a kite. So I called a couple of friends and was like, man, you got to come out here. This is unreal. So yeah, it was about an hour's worth of these floats coming out of the fog, all of dinosaurs. So
That had been something to see.
it was crazy.
Doc is cracking himself up.
I do that. But yeah, it was pretty surreal.
Well, the Cage Gauge Camaro and the E-Racing cars not turning laps right now. Not sure what the story is, but
Well, hopefully
they're just in the pits. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see all that fog as they enter turn one.
So one of our new sponsors out here this weekend, it's called Low Tide Motorsports.
Yeah, they're based out of Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
I was talking with Sam a little bit. You know, there's a race course down in Savannah besides Roebling Road. We can't race at Roebling Road because you cannot get to the pits. It's on the inside of the track. There's no bridge, there's no tunnel or anything. But out on Hutchinson Island, where the convention center and the Westin Hotel is, there's a street circuit basically out there. And, you know, sometimes late at night we'll go run the rental car around it for a little bit. But I was wondering if that might be a great place for us to race at. But unfortunately, their pit row is also enclosed in the track. So they run a vintage event Halloween weekend right around in that period of time where we're running at Atlanta Motorsports Park. But it's a vintage event, so they do 10 laps, you know, and then there's a 30-minute wait, and then, you know, the next group of cars will go out and do 10 laps. So that works for them. It certainly wouldn't work for us with a 7-hour race. It's a Negro track.
Right.
It's kind of it's got a street circuit feel, but it's got regular rumble strips, that sort of thing. So. But yeah,
Operation.
now you're gonna have to stick that in your dreams.
Oh, yeah. Operation Motorsport in pursuit. This turns a 227 though. See the fog continuing to thicken, and that's going to be a player in some of these lap times, giving the drivers the confidence that they need to make sure that they're going to find those braking points, those turn-in points.
Yeah, the action going into turn one is as hot and heavy as it's ever been. So.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy out there.
Bill said the sprint camera is now looking at the sign.
All right.
Yeah, the fog doesn't look too bad looking up.
You can see it now, yeah. Bill says hi.
Dan must be back, man, in the sign. thought of one I should have. I should have anticipated the fog and gave Dan a little like fog bank ahead, enter PIN number or something like that.
Bring spoon. Fog
It
soup.
is, yeah, fog soup. That's better than Bill is asleep.
I remember seeing that.
That was last year,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Lindsay was quick with that camera up here too. As soon as that sign flashed up here, Bill didn't have his eyes shut, I swear, more than 30 seconds tops.
The Bimmerline is in the pits.
Looks like they've got an overhead light.
This is like one of those nerve-wracking moments when you're getting in a car. You're leading the race, and all you want to do is just get out there, because up until that moment your heart's going crazy and you're nervous. You just want to get out of there before you have a chance to back out of it.
I'm not going out there.
Never mind.
You're crazy.
Going into
I've seen what goes on out there.
Yeah, the race is in his hands, the car is in his hands, and it's a challenging situation with the darkness, and of course the fog's getting worse.
Yeah, now he hasn't, unless he's watched the broadcast, he doesn't know what that fog is going to be like. The road looks pretty clear, but he gets down to turn one, he's like,
Yeah, that's probably going to be, which is probably the worst part of the track, but he's going to go in there thinking, wow.
Yeah. This is great. It's not raining. I got no worries in the world. And all of a sudden, like, wait, what the hell? Because it's really rolling in down there. Yes, I know this. I was waiting for him to say something, or I don't know if he wants to say anything. James Ballinger's joined us up here in the booth.
Yeah, it can be deceptive. The pit and paddock are pretty clear right now. But watching the video, it's getting pretty foggy out there pretty quick.
Yeah, that's I wonder, boy, if you don't have your headlights aimed correctly, it's not only do you have to see the apexes, but you better not have them too high where they're shooting into that fog, because then it will get blinding.
Yeah, that's really common. I see a lot of the cars out there have them too high just all the time. They think it's going to be better for all conditions.
Right.
For that fog, it really hurts.
So, of course, Bimmerline's been here many years, so it's a well-organized team. They got some fast drivers. They're visually quick out there. Again, I'm not used to looking at the Operation Motorsport car, so I can't pick him out easily. But Bimmerline's been cutting through some traffic.
Heading out onto the racetrack for the first time in the thick of the night and into the fog, down into turn one.
Yeah, hitting turn one the first time when you head out on track, it's a little bit of a test just to blend in and start to get into a rhythm.
Arbank Racing has taken the lead of the race for, I believe, the first time of the event.
No, they led lap one. When the green flag fell, they surged to the lead, but I think they had lost it by lap two.
I think they won the lottery. They started out with that.
Yeah. Pit stall 5 was the random number for the start of the race, and Arbank, I think, is in 6, something like that. Whereas Visceral was buried in pit stall 38, so they had some work to do to move up. before they eventually retired that car with a broken fuel rail line.
Oh, they had a broken engine.
Oh, that's right.
The guy next to you had the broken.
Yeah, it was Jay. Yeah, yeah. And you normally carry one of those? Didn't have it this time. Huh?
Yeah, so we've gone through a few different engines. We started with a KA24 engine, inline 4-cylinder. Then we went to a 1UZ V8 engine, and this last one we're on now is a VQ30, so it's a V6 engine. And so we wanted to get rid of some of the parts that were kind of left over from the old engines, just clear everything out, have it in good shape when we came. And we got a new pit box. So normally in those races, we carry spares for a lot of things. And we actually had 2 spares for our fuel rails for all these races. And when we were clearing it all out, we had this discussion. And one of the guys said, yeah, we're not going to break a fuel rail. That's just an outlandish failure. Let's not carry this thing around all the time.
Right.
And so that guaranteed the failure. Yeah, that was it. That sealed the deal for us. So we had a hairline fracture in a fuel rail. And we were just really lucky that it was spraying onto the bottom of a manifold and going down the transmission behind the headers.
Right, not on the headers.
Yeah, because we had a whole lot of fuel back there when we finally caught it. And it could have been a lot worse. We were really happy that no one got hurt.
It could have been a horrendous fire, but my policy is, James, is I bring in anything that I don't want to change. Because if I bring it, I won't have to change it. So I always bring a transmission. I bring all the stuff that I don't want to have to change. And if I bring it, I won't have to worry about it.
Right.
Yeah,
Pinky's out is in the pits apparently.
I need a bigger trailer then.
And we're in full course caution right now, folks.
Right, we've got a car off in turn 5, and also a car stranded at the entrance to the pit in. So they're going to get both of those.
There's an EV just at driver's left there.
Yeah, that's the running joke about the trailer. We just have to bring a whole nother car.
Right.
Just pull parts off it at that point.
Well, I mean, my rule when I was a stills photographer back on the IMSA circuit, you're covering the 24 hours of Daytona, and this is back in the film days. So you're carrying 2 bricks of film, which is 20 rolls a piece. You've got a 500 millimeter lens, you got a 350, you got a 35 to 80 degree shot driver stuff, and pretty soon, you keep adding all those little tricks to your bag, and that bag gets heavy. And you're carrying around 2 F1s, which have got 12 AA batteries apiece. When they came out with the Canon T90, it's like, yeah, these F1s are out of here. Because I could get 4.5 frames a second out of 4 AA's versus 5 frames a second out of 12 AA's. So the rule was if I didn't use something in my camera bag 2 races in a row, it came out. Well, that bites you too. As soon as you take it out, it's like, where's my 35? Oh, I took my 35 out.
Yeah, and every time we did this big sort of spring cleaning thing for that new pit box, and we were really happy to have that pit box to just make it a whole lot easier to take everything down to the pits with us and not have 50 trips going back and forth. So,
right.
When you do that for the first time, there are all these things that you miss. And, this is one of those things where we had the discussion before. And, when we were leaving our shop, I went to go grab one just to have 1 instead of 2 and a spare injector. And we just missed it on the way out.
That's a shame. Yeah, see, I don't have a big pit box, so yeah, we're doing I got a big like a war chest kind of thing. It gets the VF range, it gets the pry bars, it has the first aid in it, it's got the clock that we hang up, stuff like that. And then I've got a little toolbox that we carry. It's got socket rails, stuff like that. But I'm always adding to it. And I always pit with the Running Bulls racing team, and they've got a cart that they have. It's a basic pit wagon, war wagon thing. And it's like, man, I want one of those. But there is no room to put it in the trailer.
Yeah.
There's just not. So, we whittled that list down. It's like, I really don't need anything that's going to require a 1/2-inch drive ratchet. I probably don't need. That's going to be a major repair. So the car is going to go to the trailer. But yeah, I got Excel's spreadsheet. Like nobody's business. My team hates me.
Yeah, we have something like that. We when I first started working, one of the guys in ChampCar, I was working with Troy Trulio, and pushed him to start making lists. And then he started making a joke that it was a 1,000,000-point checklist, and that stuck. And he still makes fun of me about the list, but then he has them now too, and he uses them and he advocates them, even though he hates them himself.
Absolutely. And I mean, it even goes to my post-race list. It's like, empty the damn cool shirt cooler.
Yeah.
And for God's sake, any cooler that had food in it, please empty it.
Right, because that's disgusting to find later.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because my trailer is not parked in my house. It's parked in a storage shed near the shop that does the work on our car. So if I don't get down there, and I live 130 miles away from my trailer, so I may not get down there for 2 weeks. And you open up one of those coolers after it's been sitting in the Georgia sun for about 2 weeks, it is not pleasant.
Yeah, I've had that with a helmet that I left sweaty, and you come back and there's just mold and nasty stuff
like
everywhere.
You died in this thing.
Yeah, that's when it gets a full bath.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc.
Yes.
Hey, Doc.
Yes.
Our bank racing is in the pits. Our leader is in the pits. Pinky's out, came into the pits just before we went to yellow. They timed it perfectly.
Yep.
And SRI Racing is also shown not circulating.
Yeah.
So all these guys are in their window. They're taking advantage of this yellow.
Yeah, it's lasted quite a bit too. So
Yeah, there was 2 different cars they had to get. Now they're reporting a lack of visibility between 11 and 12 back in that area of the track. The fog's really thick.
So as we're at a yellow here, we're gonna reaching the top of the hour. We'll take a commercial break, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes. Stay with us, everybody. ChampCar Endurance Series is sponsored by RVA Graphics and Wraps, a custom graphics shop that specializes in the design and production of the best quality made-to-order vehicle graphics. And by Lifeline. Lifeline uses the latest technology in motorsport fire suppression and extinguishing and is the leader of in-car fire safety systems using Novec and Triple F foam. And Willwood Disc Brakes. Willwood Engineering is a global leader and manufacturer of high-performance, original equipment disc brake solutions. And Cool Shirt Systems. Cool Shirt's personal cooling systems, vests, and garments offer comfort, safety, mobility, and durability when performance matters. And Maxxis Tires. Maxxis Tires International is committed to delivering high-performance, affordable tires to the world. And Frozen Rotors. Premium cryogenically treated brake pads and brake rotors by Diversified Cryogenics. And OMP Sport, one of the world's leading manufacturers of safety equipment and tuning accessories. And by Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide, providing quality and affordable communication systems for racers and fans alike. And DiscoveryParts.com, offering the best in auto safety racing apparel.
The ChampCar Endurance Series is North America's home for real, affordable, competitive road racing. We're talking real racing, real tracks, and real cheap cars. We're talking endurance races that range from 7 hours to 24 hours long. The ChampCar Endurance Series races at famous bucket list tracks, including Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, and Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. To live the dream and race in the ChampCar Endurance Series, go to www.champcar.org.
Lifeline is a fire suppression company. We focus on innovation and leading the market in the fire safety category. What's important to us is that we keep drivers safe, that we keep teams safe, that we spare equipment. It's motorsport. It's a dangerous environment. We certainly have gas and oil and combustibles that we're carrying along in a very dynamic environment. Fire is not uncommon. It's our job to put out the fire, make sure our drivers walk away safe, and make sure we can keep doing that. Our market-leading product is a Novec based. It's a 3M Novec fire suppressant. And what really makes us special is the delivery system. This new 8865 3620 system puts that Novec, two separate systems, puts Novec in the cockpit, Novec in the engine bay in less than a second, immediately engulfing the area with a fire extinguishant. So by flooding the area that quickly, we're able to actually put out fires, save equipment, save our drivers. Obviously, that's the most important part. This is the new Lifeline 8865 certification system, our 3620 system, which has a separate cockpit and engine deployment. Specifically, the cockpit fires Novec through a piston system in under 1 second to flood the driver compartment and put the fire out. Our engine piece is fairly unique. Again, same piston-driven system. Floods the engine bay with Novec, and then a couple of seconds later fires a coolant system to prevent reignition. So not only do we put out a fire, but we also prevent a fire from reigniting. It's interesting as we continue to develop, as we continue to push and innovate. We're really working hand in hand with both motorsports and military. So what does a Wayne Taylor race car that's going around the track at 180 miles an hour have to do with a personnel carrier? Very harsh environments, as we're at Sebring and this car is banging around, and the stresses on this fire system, again, to make this piece live, so that it's available, so that it will put out a fire when it's called upon.
Welcome back to the Lifeline 24-hour classic at Alton, Virginia. It is VIR. We're under full course caution now with Bimmerline now retaking the lead of the race. Paul Veltum along with Doc Waldrop and Tiffany Alexander. Bill Strong as well here calling the race this weekend.
His view to the flag stand. If he had something in the car, he would have been fine. But he got flagged, and we went back and looked at the video. Like, all right, what happened, man? Why did you miss the flag? And it was legitimately obscure.
Yeah, and the flag doesn't even.
You can see the fog rolling in.
So he uncovered. All he sees is you passing the guy.
Right. And he looks over and sees the car, and he thinks he can see the guy, and the guy can see him, but no, it didn't work out that way.
Well,
so Arbank Racing has left the pits and rejoined the race in P2. Operation Motorsport in P3. SRI Racing, the number 67 car, in 4th position. Pinky's Out in 5th. It's Langen Gross in 6th. Team Troxel Racing in 7th. Bad Brains Racing in 8th. Elite Motors Racing in 9th. And Glazed and Confused in 10th. Going on board with the Operation Motorsport Mazda Miata. Hopefully, we can get their camera back up. Maybe not.
You want us to go down there and ask them to pit so we can check their camera?
I think we should bring them in. We got that big signboard.
Let's put Bill down
use
there.
it.
I'm still trying to get somebody to take a swing at Bill.
I just want him to take it.
I'm surprised that hadn't happened
I
yet.
tried to get Robin Bank to take a swing at him at pit last year.
We failed earlier today. We had that fuel line failure. We were joking with Bill because the last several times he's put a camera in our car, it's been almost a universal failure. Yeah. So, there's some temptation there.
Yeah. You bastard.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, he's probably going to take up the tack of not even asking. You know,
Yeah,
it's better to ask forgiveness than beg for permission.
yeah, we might
There's a lot
need a
of wisdom in
moratorium
that.
on a camera in the car. For a
I
little
kind of
bit.
feel that way sometimes when I do the prediction list. You know,
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
beginning of the races. I kind of hope this is not the kiss of death.
301 laps turn. You can see emergency vehicles still working.
Just saw your note about the House of Psycho.
Well,
Yeah, this doesn't look too bad out there right now, but that's up in the climbing S's.
they said 11, 12, 13 is where it's real thick right now.
So right around Oak Tree.
Thicker than one?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, we're coming up to that part of the track, right?
Let's see what it looks like.
I'm going to switch cameras right as we get there.
Oh, great, Polly. Thanks. Make me look good. Pretty much everybody knows I'm an idiot by now. I think that ship has sailed. I'll never have any credibility.
Once you started hanging out with the likes of us.
Oh, no. I was there long before you, Paulie. I mean, you had to learn it. This is a gift for me.
I said from the very beginning, I'm here to keep the bar low. Let's make sure it stays that way.
Yes, it is. There's a speaking to the low bar, the joke is in stage, if you put a piece of tape on the floor, an actor will trip over it. If you paint it on, a dancer will.
This is a fairly long yellow session. We've had cars that have gotten in and out of the pits over this caution. Our Bank Racing was one of those that took advantage of the yellow. Were able to get in and out.
So you see those tents up on the hill there, right in front of us. That's up for the IMSA race next weekend.
I'm glad they could follow us.
Yeah. Well, we were told to be nice to the grounds for the camera views. Now, Bill's going to be out here for that race. I've got once maybe we get some daylight in here, you know, I don't see a lot of difference. I've covered a lot of 24-hour races, Daytona, Le Mans, and you know, I maintain that it's probably harder to win one of these races with these 30-year-old cars than it is to win Daytona. I mean, that's obviously an extremely hard race. The speeds are greater. But what Bill's going to cover next weekend, he's going to be with Bill Riley and that team. And maybe compare and contrast would be the best way to do it. Remember how you used to have to do that in high school. But just the similarities, because the logistics are the same. You've got to have the tools. You got to have the fuel. You got tires.
We're green.
All righty.
We're going green.
So, you know, and they have huge resources versus us.
And we have all those lists and all those things we have to keep up with and all the maintenance, but they have people who are dedicated to those tasks, people who manage logistics and, you know, people who are dealing with the administrative
They have a
overhead.
nutritionist.
Yeah.
You know, what do we got? A guy with a pack of hot dogs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's his third job.
Yes, yeah.
That's the thing. You're trying to pack all of these tasks into a small group of people
Right.
who have their normal day jobs, and you know, setting those priorities is darn near impossible in this form of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got a checklist where we rotate each driver from one stop to the next. Like, okay, after you get out of the car, after your stint, kind of knackered, but I mean, you got 2 hours to recover, so maybe you do the fire model. Or maybe I can't remember what my list looks like now, but I think the fire bottle guy is the driver that gets in next. So he's got the amount of just, you know, you're trying to catch these guys as much slack as you can before you go out in the car. But yeah, I mean, these teams, they've got media wranglers, they have nutritionists, they have masseuses, you know. They got a nice motor coach to go to besides maybe a cot in your trailer. Or if you're fortunate enough to have a motor home, I don't. I sleep in the trailer. It's really the same thing. It'll be interesting to see what Bill's take on it. Of course, Bill's done, I think, about every kind of racing there is. So it'll be interesting how much the similarities. I mean, I think the biggest difference is the speed on the track.
Yeah, there's a lot of additional complexity that goes into those cars, but it's a different kind of complexity.
Well, and they got somebody to handle it too.
That's
they got
right.
engineers sitting looking at that acquisition.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and we're trying to go through that kind of stuff all the time. And, you know, you're talking about the task list basically for, you know, who's getting in, who does what during the pit stop. And as many times as I post that list on our team, there are guys who
somebody misses something.
Yeah, they're just not readers, some of them.
Right.
So,
But you have people who don't read the emails too?
oh yeah. Oh,
I thought that was just my team.
No, it's my team too.
I mean, there's a Facebook chat group, and then there's the email, and then there are texts. But some of the things are reinforced over and over and over again. And at the end of that, when someone comes up to you and asks the question that you've repeated something about 20 times,
Yeah.
ooh, it's tough. But
Yeah, my best friend does that to me.
yeah,
You know, like our first race, I sent out.
Then you look like Roger Rabbit, right? Your eyes bug out and your hair stands there.
I sent out a novel. I mean, I covered, you know, when to tie your shoelaces in the morning, you know, and I covered everything, and several of them were mentioned several times because it was important.
right.
You know, well, my best friend's racing with me, and it comes up to the first stop, and he says, "All right, so I can't remember what he asked me, but it was something really important, like, do I have to have my visor down?" And it's like, "Did you read the email?" He says,
Yeah.
"No, I didn't read the email." He says, "Why should I read the email? I know you were going to be standing next to me."
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I got things I got to think about too.
Yeah, my favorite example of that one is the first race that we went to with our current car. We showed up with some new team members, and there was an email telling them all the things they needed. They needed their helmet, they needed a cool suit, they needed their radio, and what to get specifically to connect with our systems and so on.
Right.
And everybody got it except one guy, and he showed up without a radio. He showed up without the cool suit, without, you know, basically the stuff that he needed. He got the basic safety equipment, but nothing more than that. So that day, you know, we're going and buying parts for him, and it costs more. You're doing it at the track.
Of course.
And you know, you ask him like, well, this stuff was sent out. Everybody else got it. We talked about it. We had meetings where we were working on the car. You know, we did like checks with the equipment.
And nothing was mentioned before.
Yeah. How did this fall through? And it's just like, oh, well, I didn't think I needed to read it. Well, and that's the you know, if it was Bill doing it, that's when you'd slap him.
Right.
Yeah, did everything you could to make their life comfortable too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just trying to friggin' help you.
Yeah.
I did everything but tattoo this stuff in reverse on your forehead.
Yeah, maybe that's what we had to do. Some henna tattoos for the weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
Tape it to the
And
forehead.
I know what he asked me. He asked me what pit stall we were in. And that just...
Maybe he just forgot.
I had only mentioned it about 80 times, you know?
He maybe should have wrote it on his hand.
Yeah, maybe so.
Like on the wrist where you can see it even with the glove.
So E-Racing is back out turning laps. They're in 50th spot. Oh, wait. Looks like they're hitting the pits again. Just as I said that, they went blue, so...
Well, since our car blew up, some of our guys are saying they want to head back and go back to we usually sleep in the trailer, and we got a nice split system in there, and we actually got it to stay cool over the day today, which is great.
And they're not going to take advantage of it?
Well, so we got we lucked out and we got a lodge room this time. None of us
cool.
had actually stayed in it before, so it's a really nice place to stay here at VIR.
Yeah, I had a couple of lodge spaces, and then the idiot that was supposed to finish up my car missed the deadline.
Yeah.
Missed every time. I always said, look, we got, this deadline's coming up, and we've never missed a deadline, never missed a race, never missed a race. He missed the race.
Yeah.
So and I
Only when
couldn't-
you have a good deposit down on the room,
yeah,
right?
Couldn't get. I had paid in full. Couldn't get
Right.
any refund, and nobody wanted them. So, yeah. But then again, that was the year it poured 23 out of 24 hours.
I was
so,
here.
Yeah, with a bunch of noobs in
Soggy.
a car, maybe it's good. We might have written off the car instead of a couple of $100.
There was a brand new team paddock right beside us. No, in the pits right beside us. Actually, we were supposed to share a spot, and they showed up with no tent.
Oh Lord!
And then-
That happens all the time. No umbrellas,
No
tent,
nothing.
no rain gear.
And we just had our little tent, right, for our little group. And we thought about being nice. And then,
Yeah, logistically, it's just
yeah, it's like,
You can't
then
fit
they,
that much
yeah,
gear in.
it's like, we can't get in and out of our spot. Sorry, guys.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you have to, you're there for your race. Ultimately, you want to be as nice as you can.
sure.
Right.
But there's a limit. When it's raining, you need to do a pit stop, and you got to have your gear ready and everything.
Right, you had to be able to get your people over the wall back and
Yeah,
forth, right?
yeah.
Right. Well, that's why we typically tip with e-racing and running bulls. We
Mhm.
know each other's operations. They're guys that we're all running the same car, so if I don't have this part, chances are one of them has it. We all help each other out.
Try not to pit at the same
Probably
time.
owe some of them like a 6-pack of rocker arms, and they owe me a couple of brake pads.
You started
We're
with
good.
6-pack, and I thought you were going somewhere well.
We trade beer, Jenny.
Okay, good. Important stuff.
Not like Tyler Pedersen trades beer. He's got like a thread on the forum.
Yeah, he can drink. I'm gonna head on out, guys. Good talking to you.
All right.
Good being here.
Good having you.
All right, James.
Thanks for coming out.
Yep. I'll see you next one.
Have a good one.
I was James Ballinger with Ballinger Motorsports. Joined us up here for a good half hour. Chatted, kept us awake for a bit.
If anybody else wants to come keep
Yeah.
us awake,
Yeah.
More
come
than
on.
welcome.
Yeah, James is the first one nice enough to stop by. And with that note, I'm going to go take a real quick break.
thanks, Doc.
No problem.
So we're on board with the Bimmerline crew, team rather. They are leading the race with R-Bank Racing behind them. About 28 seconds. So it looks like R-Bank, if this is true, if we let this go through another lap, they've made up a significant distance through that pit stop routine and got themselves on the same lap and really not too terribly far behind.
Holly, we've got a car right before turn 5, and a wheel has come completely off the car.
Oh, broken hub. Yeah. Yeah, there's a great, we were talking about Andrew Knabb and these race tech videos, and Andrew goes into some good detail and what to look for, why we have hub failures, how to avoid them, how he deals with replacement schedule, what's it look like, why he does it that way. It's just, everything makes a lot of sense. And even down to the, if you haven't seen those videos, even down to like how you pick your wheel offsets, and those offsets play a role in bearing life and bearing fatigue and hub fatigue.
like, why do I hear us? Doc left his stuff on. Hold on, let me fix.
So as we've gone back to green now, you can see now that the pit stops have cycled through. Our bank racing about, they were about a little under 30 seconds behind when they come by the start finish line. Well, there it is, about 30 seconds back.
That better? That's better.
Yeah, there you go.
I hear myself the first time. I definitely don't want to hear it the second time. Once is enough.
JSK working their way by a slower competitor, heading up the climbing S's at VIR. NLS Racing back on track after they were out early in the race. One of the first teams to go off track this morning, or this afternoon, early this afternoon, yesterday afternoon. I'll get it right eventually. Now I'm hearing myself again. I'll get it right eventually. I'm hearing myself again.
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I don't know how to mute his laptop is playing the broadcast off Facebook, and that's what we're picking up.
Yep. It should be playing through his head. It shouldn't be playing. If he doesn't have his headset hooked up to it, you should be able to just turn the volume all the way down. And on a Mac, it's in the upper right-hand corner, I believe. There's a volume controls up there.
These eye things I don't understand. I'm an Android girl.
Gotcha.
I found the mute button though.
Cool. Well done. Well done.
Yay.
So SRI cars still top 13. 2 cars. P4, P13. Now back to yellow we go. This will help our bank racing catch up and erase that 30-second deficit to Bimmerline. So they got to be liking this. Depending on the number of cars in between, but this is going to be good for them. They're continuing to make up ground on the leader. Now they'll be certainly within striking distance.
All right, this totally gives them a bit of an advantage.
2 cars are pretty much equal in lap times of what they can do. They've proven by other drivers, and they've been running pretty much the same lap time too. So we'll see what happens as the R-Bank driver gets closer and has an opportunity to apply some pressure on the overall leader.
Want a juicy bit of information?
Yeah.
So the car 26, our number 3 car, is getting called in for passing under yellow.
Oh, okay. Well,
so that's going to affect that.
Yeah, that affects them. It's an EC car, so it's not a big game changer, but it will hurt them. But they're not going to fall.
So I was just
to second place EC team.
I was just outside looking up at turn 1. The fog has lifted considerably. You can actually see individual headlights now instead of just a great white blob approaching you. It's still there, but it's just lifted off the ground a bit now.
It's a less menacing blob.
Yeah, it's actually not bad at all. You know, it's yeah, I mean, what you typically see in the countryside, you know, in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Just as the sun hits it and wipes off the dew, so it's not really heavy.
You said morning. That sounded like a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. It is a beautiful thing.
Well, yeah.
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 That was a profound thought there, Paulie.
I only have one monster left. I don't know how we're gonna pull this off.
I haven't had any.
I don't know how you're doing it.
Because I forgot to buy some.
I was afraid I overbought, and I'm already like, did not manage my caffeine well. Of course, I slept on a couch last night, and then with a friend the night before, and the power went off, and drove from Birmingham, and yeah, didn't go into this with the best endurance plan. Well, I mean, good plan, just plans don't always go as intended.
All right, so under caution again. And this is going to allow a shakeup now. I'm seeing Operation Motorsport has overtaken our bank somehow.
I don't think that'll last long.
They haven't
that
called
won't-
them in yet.
They haven't been called in yet, so I'm not sure
They
how.
actually hadn't come in yet.
I don't know how they overtook them. Maybe that was the pass under yellow.
You never know. So this, are we indeed aboard NLS?
Yeah.
I like the little smiley face up there in the right top.
Oh yeah, that's their that's like their calling card, that
Gotcha.
that thing up there. Yeah.
I see he's got his, I guess that's a predictive lap timer.
They got a big one too. Looks like they've gone all tableau about it.
I can even read that.
I know, I can read that from over here.
That thing is huge. You could probably read that from the tower as they come by.
Right?
Yeah, he's on a flyer. Just looked in his car.
I think you can update Instagram with that thing.
Do my lap counts here, but
All right. Yeah, we're at the bottom of the hour. Quick break for a commercial, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
In 1977, Bill Wood set the standard for high-performance brakes. Today, every Willwood product is born from racing technology and is proudly manufactured in the USA. Engineered, designed, rigorously tested to deliver unsurpassed control on and off the track. Whether it's for cruising or absolute performance, Willwood has an application for the ultimate stopping experience. Race-proven, street-ready, drive Willwood.
Welcome back to the Lifeline 24-hour classic at VIR. 17 corners, 130 feet of elevation change, a 4,000-foot backstretch, 120-foot drop from roller coaster into hog pen, and three of the great commentators you'll ever meet. It's Doc Waldrop, Tiffany Alexander, and Bill Strong at the racetrack this morning, I should say, shouldn't I? Yeah.
glad I had my breath. I was fixing to say, who's that?
It's 2:30 in the morning.
Somebody interesting?
What, he's standing behind me?
Three of the tiredest commentators you'll ever know.
There's a look at that racetrack. 3.27 miles is the distance. The rolling hills of Virginia. And we're deep into the race, deep into the night, and not a raindrop in sight.
I like that. They made that rhyme. Huh?
It all came together at the last moment. From here on out, it's all downhill.
So it's back to normal, in other words.
That's it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was on the same page and the same hymnal. Us old people, we don't like change that much.
Well, there's Bemerline up front. Operation Motorsport, who will have to serve a black flag penalty. Our bank racing in between them, really hurting them right now. Operation, and what's going to happen here is this is not going to help. This is not going to help our bank at all, because there's a 2-minute gap between P1 and P2, and our bank will not be able to close the gap at all because they're not going to black flag operation until they go back to green flag.
Exactly. Yep.
So this whole situation really is not played into their
Get
hand.
that lucky.
If operation would have held position, this might have played into our bank's hand and helped them close that gap, but not this time. And I'm a bit mystified why there's a minute gap between P1 and P2. There's really that many cars. They must be... It wasn't that big of a gap. It was only a 30-second gap when we were at race speed. Now suddenly it's over a minute.
That is strange.
You would think it would close and become less. So somebody might be a second pace car out there holding the field up.
Are we under a pace car, or are we doing the virtual,
We're virtual.
purple 35?
But that, you know how that goes, Doc.
Yeah,
You get some guy
Oh, I
that's
know.
just putting around.
You know, it's my pet peeve.
Oh yeah.
It might be that car I was mentioning that was so slow out there. I'd like to think he could keep up.
With the pace lap.
Yeah.
Back on board with NLS Racing out here this weekend. Good to see those guys back on the racetrack now.
Well, they rolled a couple of trucks out there, so I don't.
They were getting that car and the wheel. They had to locate the wheel.
They had to locate. A car lost a wheel.
Yes.
Oh.
They did find it.
Well,
They have it now.
Wait, other cars lose wheels?
Apparently so. Who
Huh?
knew?
Who knew? I would have never imagined.
We are going back green. Here comes that sound I like so much. I believe that's the sound phrase.
Feel the need for speed, do you?
Uh-huh.
NLS gets a great jump on everybody. Hopefully it wasn't too good and they get themselves in trouble from it, but got a good run down the straight here. Yeah, there's a 2-minute and 33-second gap for some reason, and our bank has overtaken operation as they went across the start-finish line.
A corner worker about, the possibility of an extra pace car out there. A car that was not keeping up with the field.
Well, there's your answer. That really bugs a fast car that's behind you.
I mean, it really messes them up here,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Well, and we've gone over this every broadcast. The idea of a pace car is so the field is bunched up, so the corner workers and the safety workers don't have to look over their shoulder every second. Now, there's going to be cars that pit and come out of the pits and stuff, so there's going to be some random cars out there.
but there's no reason why everybody can't go 35.
Right.
Or a dash more to catch up with the field.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough call. The purple 35. I mean, it's got its advantages and it has a few disadvantages. Because there would be under the perfect, everybody doing the 35.
Nobody would catch up.
Nobody would catch up, so the cars would always be random out there. But a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit is a pretty reasonable speed limit, where a corner or where a safety worker really shouldn't have to worry all that much. Certainly better than a yellow where cars are asked to do, waving yellows, 50% power. A standing yellow is 75%. Well, that's still pretty dang fast.
Yeah, that's quick.
So, the idea is the pace cars that everybody's grouped together. So, okay, we can't get so much work done right now because everybody's passing us. But as soon as they're passed, chances are there's not another car for a little while, so we can work more efficiently. But yeah, if you're a fast car, you're on the lead lap, and you get behind that second pace car, oh Lord. The steam starts rising in the cockpit.
Got a black flag notification for car 419. And that is the Tic Tac team that had such heavy impact we saw earlier in the race.
But they're calling in the 491 and the 26.
You mean the 419, right?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, and the 26, yeah.
What?
You said 491.
Oh, yeah. I'm making these, what?
419.
419 is the car that they had displayed.
It's 2:30 in the morning. An easy fix on my notes here.
Yeah.
Doc, these notes are for you afterwards, too.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
They're for me in the middle because I'll forget what I just heard before
Right.
it's time to say it.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been taking somewhat sketchy notes.
If you can read this chicken scratch of excuse for writing
Can't
over
be
here.
any worse than mine. My printing is normally so neat, not during these races. It's like and of course I'll write down something in shorthand and
And later not know what that means.
yeah, when I look at it on Monday, it's like, what the hell was it? What? It might as,
Shorthand for what?
it might as well be in Chinese.
I know all about that. As a therapist, I look back over my notes and I was like, what was I trying to tell myself? Goodness. Another car pulling off.
I hope the 4 people that are watching us are entertained. I'm one of them.
Well, we got over 30 on our YouTube channel, so
Really?
there's several people still watching us. But
Wow.
I'm just wondering if this, because I'm not
They should say
seeing,
hello.
I'm not seeing Operation pulled over. They've repassed our bank.
Well, I haven't seen them up on the board. So maybe they went and argued their case.
At first, they thought it was the 24. They weren't, because the call was made at the very beginning of that yellow. That yellow took a while. So then they were going back through the corner workers, getting those numbers that were called in to begin with and verifying those. So they called the 419 in, and they were verifying the number on the Miata, but they did verify it was the new Miata and got that straight. So that should be happening soon.
Well, and that's something that it sometimes happens, and then they get so stacked up in work with
Right.
black flag penalties on these tracks, especially where there's a lot of them, a lot of yellow flags, that they get behind.
Yeah, absolutely.
They get behind on it. You got to bring them in, get them in. You don't want to stack, 4 or 5 of these cars in the pits at the same time.
You got to get
You
one
wanna-
in so you can change the number board or the light board to be the next
Right.
one.
So you're sort of rifling them through, and that happened to us at Watkins Glen. John's out driving, they black flag him, he comes in like,
that's right.
what happened? He's like, well, you guys got to serve a black flag penalty, and he's like, for passing under yellow, and he's like, there was no yellow. Well, how did that happen? And I'm pretty sure it was me. I think I passed on the previous stint. I came in, he got in the car, went out, and he served my black flag
Had a
penalty,
similar thing happened at Daytona one time.
which was fantastic. I thought it was hilarious. Especially because he's the car owner. I thought, this is perfect.
That's perfect.
I love it.
It doesn't get any better than that.
He was loving you, right?
He got on the phone. He's like, man, what's going on? Did you tell me to go too soon? Because, when you see the
Right.
green flag, you tell him to go. I said, well, I told you to go and then we went green, but that doesn't mean, I don't think he knew there's that policy where if you, just because it's green on the straight doesn't mean it's green everywhere. And if you pass before they pull those yellows in, you're
Right.
passing under yellow. I assume that didn't happen. I want to believe that I passed under yellow and then he had to serve the penalty because it's just a lot more juicy that way.
Yeah, man, it's a lot more fun. It makes for a much better story.
It does. It's probably true, so I like it. I'm going to go with that.
It wasn't the same elephant.
Yeah, it's just something you got to be super careful of.
We had a driver get called in for a black flag at Daytona one year, and when he got in there, they said he crossed a blend line. At Daytona, he crossed the grass. They said he went across the grass and onto the track. Obviously, you're not supposed to cross the grass, right? And we were thinking about it, because the driver was like, I didn't do that, when he came back in, and he just went out. And then I put it together. The previous driver
Yeah.
had come through one onto the infield and had lost the car. And we went through the grass onto pit out. Then drove back onto the track. And they saw him driving back on the track, which they thought he was
Right.
crossing. Yeah. And he had, I think, pitted the next lap or two. And then there we are.
Well, and when of course when race control is talking to these corner workers, I mean the first priority is to make sure your station's displaying the yellow and everybody's behaving and the safety trucks are taken care of and stuff like that. And then they'll go back and get the notes. Okay, what happened? Especially if it involves contact.
We're back full course yellow.
They're still trying to get 419 called in and clear that black flag.
And we're going back full course yellow. So
Yep.
Maybe
Got
this time they'll be able to read it, huh?
Well, this is a technical thing here now. Do you cancel the black flag? You've already issued it for the car.
I mean, if you ignore it too long.
You only get about 3 laps.
Yeah,
After that, they'll stop scoring you. So you're basically done.
Right.
And if you keep going, things are not going to be pretty when you do come in.
No.
So,
Because the time spent at pit in will only increase.
you'll find yourself packing and going home. We've got 419. I'm just looking down here to see if they're still turning. They're shown in the pits. Tic Tac is shown in the pits. So there the board's been cleared. Oh, it's still flashing. I think they're trying to change it now. I see there's somebody over there. So whatever the case may be, they're shown that they are in the pit right now. So they may be serving that penalty as we speak. And they just haven't gotten around to
Get really
changing this
lucky with
board.
that.
It looks like
They
he's
could do it
trying to,
under
looks like he's
caution.
trying to clear the message.
Yeah.
He keeps punching in the box and then looking up.
Yeah.
I've never worked one, but I've made notes for next time I encounter one of those boards. Funny sayings to keep drivers amused. It's 8 characters across and 3 lines. So now they're trying to double check. You can hear them in the background talking. Hey, Polly.
Hey, guys. Coming up on 3 o'clock.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
My hard time flies when you're racing.
We're doing it well. At least we can say we did it together.
That's it.
I'm on my
Almost.
11th wind.
Yeah, I'm looking for Pinkies Out. I think I'm not looking in the right spot. Here we go. Pinkies Out still in P5 with the driver reporting that they were having problems with the clutch. But
Yeah, I think last time I heard Chris Huggins was in the car. That was quite some time ago. He might be out now.
So looking at running order by class as we go to full course caution. Looking at Class A, sponsored by DiscoveryParts.com. It's Glazed and Confused. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot RRT Racing. Your top three. Hugh Jass. There's Hugh Jass in fourth.
Yeah.
Going to B class. Yeah.
Fifth. That's Gino Manley's team.
Hey guys, real quick, got to make an announcement. The folks need to know they need to slow down under the yellow. They need to slow down to 35 miles an hour. If they don't, they're going to start black flagging people, and they're going to bring out the pace car, and it's going to delay our start. So 35 miles an hour, folks. When that yellow light comes on, 35.
All right, so B class, it's Inactive Motorsports, Cat Valier, and Barely Racing. Barely Racing in P3. To C class, it's Bimmerline, R-Bank Racing, and SRI Racing. That would be the number 67 car. Pinkies Out's just behind them. To D class, it's Cage Gauge, KH Motorsports, still in that Ford Mustang that I think they were leading earlier today. Maybe not. Maybe they were up front, close. But Interceptor in P3, and looking to EC, it's Operation Motorsport, Race Team Inc., and Loose Cannon Racing.
Yeah, just looking at D, the battle in D, that Cage Gauge Camaro's up only 3 laps on that KH Mustang.
Where'd my phone go?
Oh, we're back to green. And there's the call for 253 to come in to serve a black flag penalty. 253 is the Honda Prelude of CMP Racing.
So, and I believe Race Control is still discussing the 24 car.
The 26 car?
Or 26 car, yeah. I think they're double and triple checking.
I don't know how they could do that. They don't have anything recorded, do they?
No, but he was talking. I don't know who it was. I just heard him saying he was reported to have passed several yellow flags. So he was continuing to advance after the first mistake. So they're trying to confirm by visual on that car. Is that the car you saw?
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Does that look like the car that you saw? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I'm not happy about a lot of things. One of the things that changed in our BCCR, now granted, the lights that we used to have on our number panels were absolutely worthless. You could hold up a lighter outside your car and your number plate would have been better lit, even at speed. So we no longer require a number panel light. And we're so ineffectual.
We sort of do. It's required to be visible.
I think it has to be the light or either the reflective panel. It's supposed to be one or the other?
No. It's not required that you light it. It's not required that you have the reflective panel. But it says that it's required that it is visible. They need to be able to see it. So in a roundabout way, you may need to light it. It's your responsibility to make sure that everybody can see it. So if you want to buy a reflective panel, that's fine, but that doesn't necessarily get you out of the woods. Now, that's what I did. I just bought the reflective panels, but it's different for us because we weren't planning on racing in the night, except for Daytona, and Daytona is decently lit.
Oh, yeah.
So we knew we would be okay with that, right? So it's different for us than it is for some of these other guys that are going to race deep into the night on these dark tracks. So in this case, I would run like an LED strip or something to
Yeah,
make
I run-
absolutely sure that it's going to be seen.
You can read my number from miles away. All right, I've got the Bible open.
Okay, well, cool. Let's dig into this thing a little bit, because it is
We got some
something we
time.
need to know about, and again, we've got a little bit of time. Yeah.
Okay, BCCR 9.7.7. Number illumination for all night racing events. 9.7.7.1. Cars participating in any event where headlights are required are recommended to have both door number panels illuminated. And that's what it says.
All right.
Recommended.
It doesn't have anything to do with visibility or anything. All it says are recommended to have both number panels illuminated. So it's not.
Yeah, that's obviously different from what I remember.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised when I read it, Paulie. And normally, ChampCar is pretty good about highlighting changes in the BCR. And even in the appendices now, I think changes are listed.
Be one of those rules. You need a dash of clarification.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think your numbers panel should have to be illuminated. So the corner worker, it's
visible.
like, are you sure it was car number 24? Because
Well, it's like those people who like have those little smoky effects on their tags. So
On their
maybe
tags, yeah.
you won't be able to tell it's them.
right.
Come
Yeah, I
on.
mean, technically, I mean, they can't. I have a barber license plate, the Barber Museum license plate frame, and it covers up the year and most of the month. So, you leave the month the same. My birthday is on July 4th, so it stays July, but the color of the year changes. Well, if you look at what July looks like, you can only see the very top of the number. It's just 4 dots.
Huh.
But I like my Barber Motorsports license plate frame.
I have the tag.
Yeah,
So
I saw that. We don't
It
have
should be mentioned that the number 26 has been black flagged. It is on the number panel, and so they will be expected to come in and serve that penalty, and that will help our bank racing make that leap and potentially close the distance with the next yellow flag, which we can expect is going to happen somewhere within the next 30 minutes because it seems to be pretty regular. And guys, do we have any idea how many cars are still circulating? Or do we just kind of...
You want me to just take a wild stab at it? I can count.
Why not?
Yeah, let me pick a car that's got a light that I can clearly see is their car. I can't see out our window, but I'll be right back.
All right. Well, thank you.
He just wants to go for a walk.
Well,
Can't get up.
that's all right. So last report we had, fog beginning to lift a little bit. And certainly
Yeah, it's better.
not the concern that we had coming into this race at all. We were much more concerned about miserable raining conditions, and we have not seen that. And this might be the first VIR we get through without rain.
The one race where I remember my poncho and I remember my rain boots.
That's why it's not going to rain. if you'd have left something at home, would have been doomed out there.
Right?
There's the call for the 26 car to come in and serve a penalty. And from the information that we've gathered, there was a pass under yellow for that car.
Two different ones under two different yellows. We'll see if they act both.
Might get them for both, yeah. Sped source in the pits.
The Tic Tac car is dragging their muffler. Dragging something. They think it's the muffler.
Of course, that's the team that was just got done serving a black flag penalty.
Right? And also, I believe this is the truck. Yeah, the truck. It's also dragging something. I'm imagining, something that started off as a part on the car. These corner workers are busy. It's amazing how they're constantly talking and dealing with issues throughout the whole race.
Yeah, I can hear them in the background talking about more black flag issues that they're dealing with. There's the 419 also flashing up, so they're going to bring in both cars. Operation Motorsport has come into the pits. They are no longer circulating. So that allows R-Bank Racing to slip into second without that faster car in front of them holding them up. And because of that, that should allow them free rein to make up the distance with the next yellow. So Vern, welcome to the broadcast. What we've been watching is an interesting situation unfolding between R-Bank Racing and the leader. It was the Operation Motorsport was in front of R-Bank, and essentially they were being held up, unable to get by. During a full course caution, they were slowed significantly. Their gap to the leader went from about 27 seconds to about 2 minutes. And then Operation Motorsport was called in for passing under yellow, which has now removed them from the equation so that R-Bank has an opportunity to get caught up. Really, all they need is another yellow flag, which we've been getting about every 20 minutes to half an hour.
So we have 51 cars currently pinging. Figure there might be 2, 3, 4 cars on pit row. Another couple may be back in the paddock affecting repairs, and they'll rejoin us. But right now, we're basically 51 cars are on the track. So the 419, I don't know if y'all got to this. He's being black flagged. He's clearly dragging his, I believe it's probably his exhaust. It sounds like it, and there's a trail of sparks behind him.
Yep. They got him on the board.
Yeah.
Looks like the 684 is on there as well.
Yes. Dragging something.
That's the lower, slower racing team in that Chevy S10. So I was just supposition here. Really, all R-Bank is now looking for that yellow to come so that they can close the distance down on Bimmerline and get within striking distance. SRI Racing in P4 right now, and they too might be able to get by the Operation Motorsport car. Pinky's out in P5. They dropped a little bit. That car struggling with the clutch.
though that once the 26 comes in and serves their penalty, we may see fourth and fifth place hop up, since they're only one lap difference.
Yeah, well, they are in the pits right now. But yeah, it's a good point. They're not that far back, so they should be able to make up. They should be able to surpass them while they're in the pits. And we don't know for sure how long they're going to be in the pits. We at least 3 minutes. We're sure of that. We can say with all reasonable certainty, but it might be more than that, depending on how much violation that they've been charged with. They may be there quite a while. Now, it is an EC car, but again, under caution conditions, we found that it was holding up the other cars that were in contention for the lead. And of course, that
to say that there's a car being black flagged because he was a second pace car.
No.
Oh, I doubt it. Yeah, there's a lot of information we don't have, so I'm just making assumptions on things. But the fewer cars you have in between, the better, and that's going to allow our bank to get caught up. Same with with the SRI and Pinkies Out. If they can get by on this penalty lap, then that's just that much less trouble they need to deal with. Here in St. Louis, getting my car ready for Gingerman. Oh, okay, cool.
At this time of night?
It's not the night, it's the morning. You don't want to sleep the day away. Cool, Vern. Yeah, I'll see you up there. I'll be up there with the Green Dragon, and so I'll have to come by and shake your hand. That's another thing I wanted to bring up, because I've been feeling kind of bad for lefties lately. I got to thinking about it. I'm thinking, everybody shakes hands with their right hand. Isn't that kind of weird for a lefty?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
Shake with your right or left?
Oh, I shake with my right hand.
Everybody shakes with their right hand.
Yeah.
But if I would, that's because most of us are right-handed.
Ancient times, it was to show that you were unarmed.
I thought it was because you're supposed to wipe with your left and shake with your right.
Well, you went there.
That may be. I don't know.
You went there, Tiffany?
It's 3 a.m.
Okay. So you get the early AM pass. We don't want to have to send you to Human Resources, Tiffany. But we will if we have to.
It's a cleanliness joke.
No, yes, I know that. Yes, I got the reference.
If it's a clean joke.
Yeah, it's a clean joke. Yeah, I get it.
R.
There. She's stringing them together now.
But I've heard that the handshake, originally, you would grab the other's bicep. It was more of a from underneath. It was, tricep, I guess that would be.
Oh,
and that was more of a brotherly type of a handshake.
I could see that, but it probably still amounted to the fact that you weren't armed.
Yeah.
And maybe when the dagger came in, some people saw what happened to Caesar and went, oh, wait, we got to change this forearm thing. It ain't working no more.
Maybe the other arm.
Yeah. So, no, I'm kind of pretty much ambidextrous. Things that are an underhand motion, I am predominantly right-handed. But things that are overhanded, like throwing darts, I'm left-handed. But bowling, I'm right-handed.
Okay, that's just confusing.
Yeah, well, have you spoken to me lately? Do I look like I'm not confused most of the time?
I was watching the feed here from inside the NLS car and could really see in another part of the track they just come from where there was a significant amount of fog still on one part of the racetrack. can hear the tires protesting as they take that 240 through the corners.
Yeah, I think Station 12 called in fog again.
NLS, of course, with that V6 swap, so this is a very fast race car. Braking hard, heading down into turn 1, I believe this is. Yeah, we may almost lost the feed there. A minute and 46 seconds back. That last time through. Lap time actually a little bit better. For R-Bank Racing. Of course, R-Bank would love to see some rain show up, but looking at the weather forecast, looking at the radar, it doesn't look like that's in the immediate future. As we look out over Danville.
So I can cover about 2.5 hours on my lap charts, and at the end of each 2.5 hours, I write down the lap count, just so it makes going back over Speed Hive and looking at what point in the race, what car's speed we're doing and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, our two leaders are in touch with each other. That's Bimmerline and R-Bank. And then there's basically a lap separating the next couple of cars. You get down to 6th place. They've got about 4 laps on 7th place. Then you get a car stuck there at 308. He's by himself. And then you get a car on lap 303. They're by themselves. The next 5 cars, and this could even go, that's position 11 through 15 are all on the same lap. And it could even go further than that. I only keep the records of the top 15.
On one lap, just one lap down from all the.
Yeah, so that battle for the remainder of the top 15's pretty heated.
Well, and there's a look at the top 11 there. You can see, we can move this around, pick up the top 15. Obviously, we've got Bimmerline and R-Bank up front. Operation Motorsport has gone back onto the racetrack in P3. SRI Racing is next behind that EC car. Then it's Pinky's out in P5, just turning a 2:20. Pretty respectable time. I think they've got a pretty good idea how to drive that race car with a ailing clutch and keep those lap times in check. Langland Gross in 6th, Team Troxel in 7th, Bad Brains in 8th, Elite Motors Racing in 9th, Glazed and Confused in 10th, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot in 11th, 901 Motorsport in 12th, RRT Racing in 13th, SRI Racing, the number 68 car, in 14th, and 626 Inactive Motorsports in 15th.
The 116 of Beast Mode Racing, their last lap was their best lap of the race with the 217. So even in these conditions, they're
Well,
Yeah, I think some guys do get a little more comfortable racing at night because they're not as scared. They don't see. They really can't see as much. Just take it at what's right in front of you.
What to be scared of?
That's where I was going to.
Sometimes the person you got to play head games with is yourself.
Yeah. Well, we were talking to a driver not that long ago that he loves racing at night. There's less distractions from all the visual information. You can concentrate a little bit more because you can only see what your headlights can see. And he loves it.
You got Glazed and Confused, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and RRT, the top 3 in A class. Huge Ass still in P4, back about a lap from P3. And Utter Racing Group in P5, Beast Mode Racing in P6th. Inactive Motorsports leading B class with Cat Valier in second.
Cat Valier has been showing up in more races lately.
I called it the kitty cat car.
Yeah.
Has little rainbow lights on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It used to be.
What is that car they're pushing down the pit road? You see that, Doc? That should be right in front of you about now.
If I could,
Oh, yep.
can't figure out how to get it out of my chair. I can't see them through the easy ups.
Okay. They're coming right through the wall there. Coming into the paddock.
They have no power on in the car,
Right.
and there's no lights down there, so I can see the car, but I can't even make out the panel.
Back.
Not to mention that our windows are completely screwed up over here.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, they're pretty fogged up.
Hi, Mike. Oh, yeah, you can't open that one, actually, and it's freezing in here, so that's not a bad idea. Just awake? No, they won't fall asleep for sure.
Bill should go out there and get pictures of the side and stuff.
Okay. We've got a camera on the side, too.
Bimmerline just turned their fastest lap of their event, a 2:17. Shaved just a little bit of time off their quickest lap. On board with Sped Source. Here, NLS Racing. Get a nice clean pass around the outside, and then it's Inactive Motorsports. So we're here live covering the Lifeline 24-hour Classic at VIR. It's the ChampCar Endurance Series presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps at Virginia International Raceway. If you'd like to find out more about ChampCar, you can check out our website at champcar.org. We've got a lot of races on the schedule this year. We'll be at Gingerman Raceway here in just 2 weeks. And from there, it's on to Thompson Motor Speedway. There's still race entries available there for that race. So we hope
Yeah.
you'll join
I
us.
think Gingerman's wait list.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They're capped out.
It's one of our fire sale races along with Thompson.
Yeah. From there, on the 22nd of September, yeah, you can't beat the price. It's a 12-hour endurance race there at Thompson Speedway. And then we're on to Sebring for our annual 14-hour race, the 22nd and the 23rd of September. And then it's on to Harris Hill a week after that.
I've always meant to ask Mike, and maybe he knows, he's been around ChampCar for a long time, that our schedule, if you notice, is pretty much divided. All the beginning of the year are the long races, the 12s and the 14s. And then when we get into fall and winter, we seem to switch over to the 7, 8 format.
Except, well, Sebring's 14.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
pretty much after that, it's all 8 and 7s.
I wonder if that has more to do with the track or the scheduling thing.
Oh, you know what? I bet
I
it
know-
has to do with daylight.
Daylight, yeah, and tracks. I mean, like, I know Barber won't let you run sound after 5 o'clock. Yeah,
Right, okay.
the sound.
Okay.
so it would be a sound issue, like
Right.
there.
But I wonder if it also has to do with daylight.
Probably.
Because I don't think there's a restriction at AMP.
Oh, AMP has a lot of sound restrictions.
They have sound restrictions, but I don't know. I'm just trying to find a brain cell that has any kind of questions.
Right, Atlanta has sound restrictions on Sunday mornings,
Yeah.
so a Saturday long race works really well.
It could be just coincidence, and
Or it could be that.
once you get into that format and you know it works,
Right.
you know people want to go to that long race at that's what people want. So
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
yeah, because there are some long races, like Tiffany pointed out, that's kind of smatter about. We've got 12 hours at Thompson, 14 hours at Sebring.
Well, and of course, the NCM's normally a double day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this year it was a single race, but it would still happen over 2 days. So I don't know. Maybe
This is the first time we've done 3 24s.
Maybe the schedule isn't as weighted as I think it is.
We're just on lack of sleep all these 24 hours.
That is.
Yeah.
So we're just about out of time with our Facebook feed. We'll be breaking away from our Facebook
Let me get one
stream.
in real quick. Vernette Baker, that's the guy that's working in his car in St. Louis. He says he's using Gingerman as a driver development race, skills and situational awareness training for some of his new drivers.
Yeah, it's a great place for something like that because it's a very safe racetrack. It's not terribly fast. Safe in the way that there's some place to go. If you do put a couple wheels off or slide off the track, you're less likely to run in. There's exactly one tree in the middle of the racetrack. So if you manage to find that sucker, okay, but it would be difficult to get to it. It's like a stuck throttle, and you can't see. I don't know.
Okay.
The most unlucky
It's
person in
one
the
of
world.
those.
You're just going to have to work at it. Is that? You're going to have to really
You're gonna have to make better choices in your life.
I'm sure somebody has managed it, but I don't. Yeah, better choices in
Yeah.
your life.
I don't see how I could make any possible worse ones.
Yeah, it is. It's a great track for something like that. It's great for testing, but also great for. A lot of people enjoy that racetrack. You know, it's not terribly technical, but enjoyable.
Well,
There's enough character.
I've always maintained Daytona is a very safe track, other than the fact that we have 128 cars on track.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of cars.
You know, it's an easy track to learn. There's no blind corners. You know, I bet the biggest safety issue I see there is the closing speeds.
Right.
You know, because there's some,
Can be
you know, when you
dramatic.
get some of these D class cars out there, you can hear it coming.
Right.
Yeah, turn 1 and going into the bus stop is 2 places where you got to be careful.
Yeah. Now the bus stop, you can do some damage to a car there. That is true.
It's the funneling effect of everybody
But I mean, chances
hustling in.
are at if you're going to screw up the bus stop, you're going to do it yourself. You're not going to run into an incident there because you can see it coming.
Well, you have people trying to funnel into it. You have a wide area funneling into a narrow area, and that's where it can get a little hairy with a newer driver that doesn't realize that you're going to take the line.
Turn 1 is some hard braking. It's very, very, very wide. You know, there's probably 23 racing lines through turn 1, but it too funnels down very quickly. It decreases in width rapidly around a very tough left-hander. So yeah, but I don't know. It's certainly an easier track to get used to than Road Atlanta.
Sure.
I mean,
it's not a very technical racetrack. It's pretty flat.
Exactly. It's not
straightforward,
I guess.
No. Road Atlanta, in stark contrast, certainly is.
Yes, it is.
All right, so we'll break away from our Facebook feed here and reestablish, and we'll be back here in just a minute. So stay with us, everyone.
Second.
Yes.